you know, it's funny, we're always going into these third world countries, trying to impart our knowledge, we're going to help you, when really we can learn a lot from how they have structured their community.
Traditional family. You look in Asia, where the grandparents are babysitting the little ones while the parents are out working the fields or working period. And this co-housing idea actually came from Denmark. That's where they say Copenhagen. It started. It was recognized as, and think about it, around the world. It's not just Asia. It could be Israeli kibbutz. It could be First Nations here in North America, South America, where they're living in groups, the Vikings in Scandinavia. So somebody finally articulated it and made the connection to, we're not connecting as well as we need to anymore. So now what they've got is physically connected structures of maybe 100 square meter average size, where they're fully self-contained units. So it could be like a condo in an apartment building, but they're typically, because they're different family structures, they'll be more ground oriented, but they could be multi-floor.
Because you went there this year, right?
I go every year.
Okay,
I go every year to the Netherlands, yes.
Great.
I go to Holland and Scandinavia, yes. But in a nutshell, it's you take the essentials that you need for a home, and you just have a pod of perhaps 30. The sweet spot's typically 25 to 35 family units. It could be single people, married people, people with children, living around a central activity hub where they share an evening meal typically, and each take turns during the month cooking. So and over a 6-month process, typically what happens, there's an introductory meeting and they identify 40 plus or minus, typically like 50, and they, over a process of 6 months, decide which of those families are willing to then say, okay, we're going to take the next step. We're going to trust each other. We've built enough relationship now. We want to do this. We've got enough in common. We're going to now develop together. So now you've got the community first, and then you develop.
Have you noticed, or have you, I'm sure you've done a lot of the studies, but what are the, like, can you give me 5 benefits of what co-housing does for a community or for a family?
Absolutely.
Perhaps?
Well, one is community.
Yeah.
It gives you
Number one.
Socialization. And socialization, as I've already said, is not a negative, it's an absolute positive. And so you want people to be drawn into conversations, social interactions. The average human, and this has been studied by David Appleyard, wrote a great book called Great Streets in 1981. The average human, on an average day, needs 21 socializations to maintain a healthy
and I'm assuming
level
Facebook doesn't count?
Exactly, face to face. Now, maybe the study needs to be updated. Yeah, it's a good point. You raise a good point.
I think it should be face to face.
So that's the first. The second thing is it's affordability, right? It's a quality of life that encompasses the full system. You've got affordability, you've got socialization, you've got actually shared resources too. So a lot of people are now trying to go minimalist as opposed to consumerist or materialistic, and they can't afford it. So it's an affordable quality of life. So you've got a house that's more affordable, you've got a lifestyle that's more affordable, and generally speaking, when you get into gardening and you're connecting to the land, now you're actually connecting. So the socialization is human to human, but connection to the land and in the sense of a community is another huge benefit for these things. And then of course, car sharing. People still are, in North America, we have a car mentality here, we still use autos, but car sharing, you only need 1 car per 20 families. So really you don't need more than a handful of cars for the entire 30 units in this place. So instead of 30, and you know in North America sometimes it's 2 per family, or 60 cars, we're down to under 10, probably 5 to 10.
That's incredible. So you impact on the environment.
Now it gets better because I like the best I've seen and lived in. They have shared workshops, so whoever is crafty can have their own craft workshop or power tool workshop. So who knows who's going to learn knitting, sewing, woodworking, and all the Christmas gifts. So the grandparents are making little things, and you know, little Johnny wants to know, what are you doing up there? So he gets plugged in. I learned so much from my father, who was an electrician. I have friends though, who either weren't close to their dad, or their dad passed away, or never had a dad. We got a lot of single parents out there, right? So that's a huge benefit. And I'm telling you, the idea of surrogate grandparents, let's just take one step further. When you talk about our society, half of all families that get married today end in divorce. And if each of those has a child, that means, let's take 100 families, 50 get divorced. Now you've got 100 single parent families. That means 2/3 of society is now single parent families. So those children you know, we just talked about it takes a village or
Yeah.
a community to raise a child. Now have surrogate mums or dads that they wouldn't have otherwise in community, in a trusted community. So they have trusted voices that their own parents trust to speak into their life.
Yeah.
This is huge. Co-housing has a remarkable record where it's been done, and it's been successful where it's been done. We've got units that are springing up in Nelson, Vancouver, Burnaby, and we're pushing. We can do this, Kelowna. We can get it in Kelowna.
I think that's an amazing. You know, I had a very good friend once who said that the transfer of knowledge is the most important thing. It's not just having the knowledge, and there's so much knowledge in some of our retirement homes that never get transferred, like learning how to can or learning how to
Right.
do preserves or anything like that. And so I think that's really important. You know, even like for our set, like we're just kind of getting going. You're our first guest.
Yay!
You don't get a gift, but
That's okay.
yeah, but
the gift
you know,
is being here.
yeah, the gift is you. But we are everything that is making up our set is all upcycled or recycled. You know, Lisa, who is the main host.
I cycled.
You cycle. You cycled here. We're recycling. So Lisa's gonna everything she wears is gonna be from secondhand stores or it's that kind of thing, and it's just about getting back into that sustainability. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate because this is the real deal. So we just want to know, you know, there's going to be some pushback, I think, too, about people who think that you have to drink the Kool-Aid to belong to a community. Like, does everybody sit around and sing Kumbaya and, you know, sway? Do I have to stop shaving my armpits, Gord? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don't answer that.
Let's just go wacko. Let's go all the way out there. Wacko, build walls.
Why is that the perception, and how do we get outside of that perception? Because I know that that's not where you're going from.
Well, and that's a really interesting way to put the question, for sure. I've never had anybody ask me about the Kool-Aid aspect, but I will say simply that it's just a matter of take the time. And my wife often says, you know, it takes 6 touches, 6 conversations, 6 thoughts about it to warm up to the whole idea. So this doesn't have to be cultish.
Right.
In fact, the people themselves make up their own code of conduct in terms of what are our values? Who are we going to allow to live here?
Right.
And by the way, like any good family, you're going to have disputes. There better be a good
And there's going to be
dispute
some
rate.
weirdos.
Oh, what? I resemble that remark.
I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate that. And I think, again, it goes back to you have to educate yourself. I mean, that's on anything, and that's really what we're so excited that you came here to talk to us about, because if you don't know, you don't know, right? And
Right.
ignorance is no longer bliss, because we need some sustainability moving forward. So we are very excited that you are on this journey, and we encourage all of you to go to cohousing.org, all one word. Awesome. Thank you so much, Gord. We
You are so
appreciate you
welcome.
coming.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have you back.
Awesome. Make a date.
I'll make Kool-Aid.
We'll do lunch with your people. We'll plan.